All right, everyone awake? Everyone got their coffee? Good, good, good. So a couple people have come up to me and asked me why I don't have a company name and who I'm affiliated with, so I'm just going to let everyone know up front that I'm actually here from the future. But there's good news for everyone. There's paper in the future, so things haven't changed as much as we thought. No, I've actually spent the last 15 years of my career in the interactive space, specifically the last 3 years working with semantics in applications both consumer-facing as well as business to business, most specifically recently in mining large amounts of data in the classifieds. And so Seth thought it would be appropriate for me just to give a little overview here. As everyone already knows from hearing today and from living it, content interaction is constant. Everyone is creating and storing content. We're inundated with data and have become addicted to content. In fact, as I'm speaking, some people are tweeting. What I'm saying is being shared with people who've never met me. Content is viral. Content is obviously the way we're going. Some content, though, is less obvious. There's enterprise content management systems, your healthcare records, analytics, and again, the classifieds. I keep giving a little nod here to the traditional newspaper, just out of nostalgia. And everything, obviously, is being delivered in new ways, whether it's your mobile phone. Mine is my alarm clock. Mine is my reading device. Mine is my calendar and my reminder system. I pretty much live my life by it. I entertain my children with it. So obviously the content that we keep is largely mobile, iPad application in this case, GPS, and again in the future hopefully other things will be mobile as well, such as robots delivering our newspaper, which is left over from the past. But the real question I think today, and maybe it's a little blasphemy at a content conference, is content really king? When I got out of school many years ago, my journalism professor in public communications told me content is what mattered most. I would make an argument, actually, though, that content is much less important than context. Having lots of content, although helpful to generate context, is really not the driving factor as we go forward. The new challenge is making sense of it all. It's deriving true value from it and delivering it to the end user, be it a researcher, a general web user, law enforcement or military working in the field. The context drives good decisions, and semantics provides a piece of the solution. And without context, the road can be very long. For those of you who've worked in companies using semantic technologies or have built an ontology, some of these buzzwords we've heard today, you know that you've probably chuckled over words such as Madonna. Madonna is not so easy to figure out. In this case, both of them are icons. Both of them will have historical, obviously, memories for all of us, depending on, obviously, where you're from. And in addition to that, both of them are associated with virginity, one having written, obviously, a song related to it, and the other having been known for it historically. But I'm not going to go there. But the truth in this is that there is a very difficult task in actually trying to figure out and disambiguate between these two without context. Knowing that I'm looking for the poster of Madonna the singer is much easier when I'm contrasting it with looking for the poster of Madonna the religious figure. As Seth mentioned, so where does that lead us in terms of uses and benefits? I have the good fortune, especially in the last couple months, of traveling and seeing a lot of different applications, both in government as well as in the private sector, that are using semantic analysis, semantic data, and different technology tools that are going to be spotlighted in the Spotlight Talks in a little while. And clearly the focus is on delivery and the analysis of the content to make more informed decisions. Trending topics on Twitter are interesting, but the truth is the relationships they provide is what actually generates smarter content. Knowing I'm reading about something and giving me more of it can actually be overwhelming. But giving me something that's related to it, sharing something that educates me and takes me down a new path or an ancillary path with some semblance of obviously commonality is much more beneficial to me, the end user. Search engines will provide more accurate results in less time. I can promise everyone in the room it's not by coincidence that Google recently elongated their search box. They know. We want you to tell us more. Give me a longer query. The more you tell me, the more I learn. And in addition to that, Bing, obviously, in their move toward getting additional faceted type search features such that you can actually drill down and give them more understanding of the context of what you're looking for. And data relationships are already yielding results in obviously looking for cures for researchers. Most recently, I was privy to a conversation about two researchers who were working in two completely different labs across the world, solving two completely different problems, who wound up solving the problem for the other. Not that uncommon in medical research that the feedback from your research actually becomes more beneficial than anything. There are no easy answers in the semantic web. The bottom line is, it's typically a group of cobbled together technologies that people make work for the purpose of their use case or end solution. To make that clear, as my daughter likes to say to me, it's very difficult to understand things when you're speaking one language and I may be speaking the other. And so if a nurse looks at you and says that Ralph went to the nurse, that boy is sick, we know that Ralph has a cold. But if Ralph did an awesome skate trick and a fourth grader says to me, man, that boy is sick, I now know that Ralph can do an ollie better than anyone else in the fourth grade. It's important to understand the context and the meaning. And the applications that will be spotlighted this afternoon will talk about the analysis, the tools, and the opportunities to make that come to life. But again, as someone who's lived it, both from the research, the product side, as well as recently the CEO of a small semantic company, I can promise you it is a much more difficult task. And a lot of the tools that you've learned about today, a lot of the lightning talk specifically, I've worked with Expert Systems, for example, Cogito. There are some very good tools in this room alone, and putting them together can certainly help you find an end solution. As I often say to people, and I will leave this with you as well, there are 5 checkpoints for understanding whether or not you're truly getting smarter content and doing good analysis in terms of semantic analysis of your content. And those are you recognizing what's in your content? Are you able to extract what's in your content? Can you derive context from it? And further, can you then derive meaning after you have figured out what categorization it fits under? And last but not least, if I leave you with anything today of my lessons over the last 3 years, determine value through a feedback loop. If you're building an application, whether consumer-facing or B2B, the most important thing to do is involve your user. Your query logs, your ability to drill down, all lends itself to understanding what someone is looking for, how it can relate to what you're trying to provide to them. From marketers all the way through to search engines, this is the key, the feedback loop. With that said, we're going